Welcome to season 3 of the Bitter Jury podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Westoff, and this is my 8th take of this intro. We are not going back now. Welcome back. I'm excited for another season of Big Brother. We're going to be covering US's 25th season of Big Brother. This show, it started out as a joke a few years ago between Charles Dalton and I. I never actually thought it would get this far. But here we are 3 years later, covering our third season, our second US season. And not only are we bringing you more content this season, but I'm bringing more guests this season. So without further ado, and without any more mumbling and bumbling over this intro, I'm going to get right to it and introduce my co-host for the night, who will also be my co-host throughout the season. First, I can't start anywhere else than my OG Bitter Juror host. He's been with me since the beginning. I may not always agree with his opinions, but he's the yin to my yang. Charles, it has been way too long since I've seen your smiling face. Welcome back to the Bitter Jury. Welcome back to Big Brother. How the hell have you been?
No, like you said, it's been too long. So I'm excited to be here. Excited we have more people. I have a drink ready to go, and it's going to be a good season for sure. Good to see everyone.
Hell yeah. All right, next up on the block, he's a member of the 2023 Cracked Rackets intern class, Cracked Media intern class at this point. He's seen every season of Survivor to date, and his secret weapon is that he is a dual major at Syracuse of not only media, but also psychology. Richard, welcome to the Bitter Jury podcast. How are you doing tonight, and what are you expecting from this season of Big Brother?
I'm doing great, Westoff. Unlike Charles, the baby of the group does not have a drink next to him. But I'm expecting a lot of twists, expect the unexpected. So I'm excited for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, this next guest, I am super excited to introduce. I've known this co-host for my entire life. We share the same parents. She is my sister, and she is the only other person I know who watches more live feeds than I do. And that's really hard to accomplish. Sarah, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to your first podcast ever. How are you doing?
It's about time.
You've been asking me to be on these pods for years. I'm kind of worried you're going to take over my BB superfan status on this.
I was just about to say it's about time that I dip my fingers into Big Brother for sure. I'm super excited to.
Kids are in bed. You ready to dive in?
Oh yeah. This is mama time.
All right. Well, our last co-host tonight needs no introduction. He's the newest host of a Cracked Media podcast called Overserved. He's the co-host of that podcast. He spent time coaching college football, but most importantly, a little over a year ago, he spent 2 weeks inside of the Big Brother house. Pooch, we first welcomed you on this podcast as an interviewee when you were evicted. Now you're back as a co-host. Welcome. How are you doing tonight? And has the PTSD set in yet?
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Like you guys said, I enjoyed this podcast so much. It was one of my first podcasts, doing it with you guys, talking about my Big Brother experience after the show last summer. It was a quick 2 weeks, but it was a hell of a 2 weeks. It was a lot of fun. Got to know a lot of you guys, Westoff, a bunch doing the interview with Charles last summer, doing some tennis stuff with you guys now. It's been a blast. Super excited to be doing this now. But yeah, the PTSD has definitely started to hit in, kind of seeing more of the promotional stuff now. It's the cool thing is kind of, I had no idea what was going on at this point last summer and how they introduce everybody and do it. So it's cool to see all that stuff.
Real quick before we dive into it, this is the night before they're going to enter the house. What were you doing the 24 hours leading up to meeting Julie and actually getting inside the house? Give us a little behind the scenes.
Yeah. They didn't tell you if you were on the show yet or an alternate. So I'm the type to think worst case scenario. So I was always like, am I going to actually be on it? I know I've been sequestered for 14, 15 days, but like, is this actually happening type of deal? But then you get that close and then, they start prepping you and getting you ready and telling you what outfit you're going to be in. So you start to think, you're like, unless some shit really goes wrong, I probably will be on the show. So it's just, in a sense, it's, for me, it definitely was a lifelong dream. So just, really excited. You're happy to get, out of that hotel, and all you're thinking about right now is just probably like those house guests, what they're thinking about was who the hell is going to be in that house with them.
Definitely, for sure. Well, as they contemplate who's going to be in the house with them, we already know who's going to be in the house. CBS released the cast list earlier this morning. I got a 7 a.m. text from Sarah giving me the link to all the profiles, all the video interviews. So I know she's been studying. I know Richard's been studying, doing other drafts as well. So we're going to get right into this. Real quick, let me give an overview of what we're doing. Unlike last season, we're going to take it a little more seriously, put a little punishment on the line. So the rules here, we're going to pick 3 players each tonight. It'll be a snake draft order, which will be determined by an auto draft generator, which I'll click here in just a second. Every player that you pick, when they leave the house, will get a certain number of points based on the position that they end at during the game. So if you're the first person evicted, 0 points, second person evicted, 1, so on and so forth. If you make it to jury, you get a bonus 5 points for each of those players. If your player makes it to final 3, final 2, and wins the game, each of those positions also gets an additional 5 bonus points. At the end of the season, we'll total up your entire score between your 3 players, and whoever comes in last place will get the punishment. A couple caveats: if there's a dual eviction, as long as they're in back-to-back, then it'll be just regular order. If they pull some sort of Canada thing, I'm pretty sure Charles and I saw in Canada 10 that there was 3 people on the block and the eviction was they chose who stayed. So if it's a simultaneous eviction, we'll award the greater number of points to both players simultaneously. Only other thing is, if your player is evicted and comes back into the house, you can't lose points because of that, making your position fall down further. But that player who comes back into the house will gain additional points based on their new position of leaving. Everyone sound good with those rules?
Yep.
Awesome. So our punishment, which we quickly discussed before we hopped on here, kind of just came up with this on the fly. So we may tweak it as we go on throughout the season. But we're going to do a postseason award show where me and the loser of this draft tonight will be giving out our awards for our favorite players, our favorite moments of the season, and whoever loses will be doing the Hot Ones challenge, whether it's just the chip or maybe we'll order the whole Hot Ones set of 10 sauces. And as we do the award show, the loser of this draft tonight will have to eat the wings as we give out the awards. And obviously, if I lose the game, we'll find another host and then I'll be the ones eating. So with that said, everybody ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm clicking the draft order generator. First pick is Sarah. Second pick is Charles. Third pick, Daniel. Fourth pick, Pooch. Fifth pick, Richard. All right. And with that, Sarah, you are first on the block. 2 minutes on the clock. Tell us, who are you taking with your first pick and why?
Man, it's honestly hard to be the first pick because all of the options are there, so you can't narrow it down any. I don't necessarily have a favorite yet. I have done a little bit of research today.
Well, tell me this. What do you look for in a Big Brother player? With these first picks, we can get a little more in depth before we start, speeding it up a bit. But tell me your philosophy.
Honestly, off the bat, you look for the it player, right? I mean, in seasons past, you've seen the it player through Tyler, through Xavier. You see their photo and immediately, you say, man, that looks like a winner, So sometimes you go off that. But also the intro videos, the interviews mean a lot, I would say, too, with what the house guests have to say. You really get a kind of like what personality is going to be shown in the house, because I feel like the production studio picks similar personalities year to year. So you can kind of gauge, okay, they're going to be this type of person or this type of character. But I probably don't have very much time left on the clock. So
it's a fake clock, but still, we're trying to do this in under an hour.
But okay. I mean, off the bat, I think that I'm pulled between 2 players, honestly. But I think I'm gonna pick Matt as my first pick. And
what was your philosophy behind that? You think he's the it player?
I don't necessarily think he's the it player yet. Honestly, I'm between him and someone else. Between who I think could really, really take a stand in the game. But I think that he has qualities, obviously, to possibly win competitions. I think that he's going to be able to fit in with the house guests. I think he's going to be able to, I don't know. It's hard to put into words. It's really just a feeling.
He looks like Tyler with his hair. That's really it. Because I had him as he was my first choice too. So obviously we think alike. Yeah.
I think the house guests are going to have a heart toward him, honestly.
Okay. So first pick on the board, Matt goes to Sarah. All right. Next up on the block is Charles. Charles, who are you going with for your first pick?
Yeah, well, I can already tell that it's going to be the siblings versus me because it seems that Sarah is on the same philosophy. And my definition of the it players is always a little bit different. I don't look for the pretty people. I look for somebody that's going to be a little bit more strategic. And my first pick is actually tough because I don't want to give too much away, but there was one of the pretty people that I had written down a couple of notes just from their intro that really struck a chord with me. But I'll go ahead and say that my first pick is going to be Red. I absolutely loved his intro because I liked the fact that he said, you may go into the house with plan A through Z, but that means nothing. And he's proven already that he's willing to adjust, which, Pooch obviously can talk a little bit more on that. But I think, one of the things that's just going to be important for anybody going into the house, as we've seen, you go in with this grand master plan of everything that's going to be, and sometimes shit hits the fan and things don't really work out that way. So I'm really, really excited about him. And I'm hoping that nobody picks my second pick as we snake back around. But,
yeah, we are doing a snake draft. So who's my last? Richard, you will get a double pick as we snake back, just so you know. But all right, 2 off the board, Red and Matt, which means I am up next and I am between 2 choices too. And the tiebreaker for me is going to be the hometown of this player. I am going with Nicole Hayes. I think I didn't watch any of the videos. So she looks athletic from her photo. She looks, her occupation being a political consultant makes me think that she knows how to massage a conversation, how to see all sides, politics.
Does she though?
Again, I'm going off a picture and a job description here. So I didn't do my homework. I spent all day making this beautiful setup rather than doing my homework. So I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the butt, but hey, I think I won last year, didn't I? So I get a little bit of grace here.
For what it's worth, McCall was in my top 3. So thanks, Westop.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, but you know what? You're the super fan. I'll take that as a good sign. And if I can filibuster here until I find here we go. All right. So Pooch, go ahead while I update the labels here on screen. Who are you going with for your first pick?
Yeah, I was between a few people. I didn't do too much research. Probably should have done more, just like going in the Big Brother house. But I'm gonna go Corey. He just looks. He has that innocent face, innocent vibe. Where I just feel like he'll kind of. I don't know. His brother was on Survivor. I think I know that because his brother reached out to me. I think when I came off the show, was super nice. I think we were from a similar area in Florida where I was down there for years. So I'm gonna go Corey. He seems like a nice kid. I feel like he's just gonna be likable, like in more of the not rub people the wrong way and shut his mouth, like something I did not. So I'm gonna go Corey. Corey.
Yeah, Richard, can you give us a quick update? What is Corey's Survivor background with you being the big Survivor historian on this podcast?
You know what? I had some hope that maybe those two would fall to me because those are my top 2, Nicole and Corey. Okay. So Corey's brother Zach was the second boot on Survivor 42. Both super fans of the respective shows, which is what I liked about them. They study the game, they know the games in and out, and I think you could also see that from Corey's personality and his interviews and everything that he said. So I just felt really good about Corey.
What'd you say about his mom too? She was Players
That would be Jared's mom.
Oh, okay. Well, then hint, there may be another reality television connection here in this cast. But Richard, the floor is yours. You get back-to-back picks, so take them however you want.
So first one, I got a lot of people telling me to take this one, and I don't know. I did like the vibe, and I also thought the attitude was right. When I look for a BB player, I'm looking for the passion, the drive, but also the game knowledge. There have been people who have skated by without knowing the game, but most don't. Thinking of Kevin from 19, but I'm gonna go first pick with Jag.
He's on my list.
Yeah,
that's okay.
And with
that's okay.
the
He's
second
on my
pick-
list.
Well, real quick, pause real quick before we go to the second round. I didn't forget to mention one rule. Since there's 5 of us and 16 players, one player will be left over. I say if that player wins the game, all 5 of us do the hot wings challenge.
Oh.
I'm good with that.
All right. All right.
I
go on,
don't
Richard.
think we
We're
will.
all
Our odds are pretty
screwed.
good.
Sure.
Odds
All
are
right.
pretty good right now.
All right, you're good for your second one, Richard.
Or maybe we'll just let that last pick be Dalton's, just like leftovers, and then if they, and then he can do the challenge.
If Dalton wins, I think we should let him pick someone else to do the hot wings challenge.
It'll be Gruskins, and that way we make him do it either way.
But second pick, I have 2 names circulating, but I'm gonna stick with one just because I had a better feeling. Knows the game inside and out, knows what he's doing, and I think he's learned some really good things from his mom. So I'm gonna take the son of Survivor royalty, Jared Fields.
And now explain us the background there. His mom played 4 seasons.
I mean, Jared's mom is just a Survivor legend. Played 4 seasons of Survivor. Won CBS's attempt at another show, Traitors. Just an absolute legend. Played 4 times. Amazing strategical player, but also really, really good socially. Kind of like as an older woman in Survivor, kind of took on that like nurturing motherly role and kind of tricked a lot of people by taking on that role. I think Jared has a lot of expectations, but also smart strategy of not saying who his mom is going in. But
yeah, that's definitely a good call. That'll put a target right on his back. All right, Pooch, round 2.
Yeah, round 2. I'm gonna go somebody like once again. I think least not even problematic, but just like quiet or just I don't know something that makes somebody likable. I'm looking at Cameron Harding. I'm gonna go second pick, stay-at-home dad, because I feel like being in the house the first couple of days, everybody's just telling their story, and I feel like a good story. And I just not even a good story, but something likable. I feel like stay-at-home dad's likable. How could you not? I mean, taking care of the kid is just. I don't know. I feel like that's
I think he's going to be a sleeper. Yeah.
I'm hoping a safe pick, and maybe he's like, he's at a good age. I think age is important too. He's not too old, but he's not too young. So he's not probably wild, crazy, but he's also, at a point where he's not going to struggle relating. So I'm going to go Cameron Harding.
2 down for Pooch. That puts it back to you, Charles. No, sorry, Sarah, right?
It's you, Daniel.
Oh, it's me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am in charge of this podcast and have no idea what I'm doing. All right. Well, back to me. I can, I guess, go with my other first pick because no one took her. I'm going with Kirsten, the molecular biologist. I go for athletic and I go for brains. You can figure out the social later in my mind. But we'll see. I'm going Kirsten. That's my second pick, and I don't have much more to say on it. So sending it to you, Charles. I can't multitask is really what the problem is.
That's fair. So I'm kind of excited because this one is kind of off the beaten path for me. Because again, I usually don't go for the pretty people. But because I like, again, what she said in her intro, and Daniel, as you know, I like the people who are willing to go into the house to manipulate.
Like Summer?
Therefore,
that was just for us too.
Yeah. But I'm going with America. I like how she said in her intro, hey, this is a game of deceit. As you know, that's, I'm here for that sort of shit. Bitter jury for me kind of doesn't exist, because if you get outsmarted by someone, that is your fault and not theirs. So if you're willing to go into the game and shake things up a little bit, I'm here for you. So initially, I didn't think I was going to pick her because she kind of reminds me of Danielle from that season with Ian, and I wasn't a big Danielle fan. But I'm hoping that America's going to pull through for me.
You okay with part of her strategy being flirting?
Sure, it's part of deceit. Let's go.
Is that Danielle Reyes, or is that the one you're talking about, the alumni season with Ian and the blonde Danielle?
No, not Danielle. I don't know last names as well as you do.
Gotcha. It's all right. I was just trying to flex there, but I don't know anything else besides last name, so that's not a real flex. You kind of called me out on the spot there. So, all right, Sarah, you get back-to-back picks.
I do? Really? That's great, because there were two people I was between.
Oh no.
Well, my next pick is going to be Izzy. And they were another person that stood out to me in particular whenever I was looking at the feed. I mean, not necessarily pretty people are the people that stick out, but really when you're scrolling, you can kind of just get the energy or the vibe from someone by just looking at them. So I'd say that they would probably be my second pick. I think that they're going to go in and I don't know. I just have that feeling again. We'll see where it goes. I haven't done too much research, honestly. So this is really off the bat. But.
I throw Izzy and like Red, and then the older players, Felicia, and like that, like at risk for the first week and a half. And if they could just slip by that first week and a half, they're good for like 6-7 weeks.
I agree. I think Izzy could honestly get themselves into a position where they like could get evicted at the front end. But I think if they get the gameplay down right away, I think it could be for the
it'll just depend on who the backstage boss is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're wearing the shirt.
Hey,
I didn't even notice.
There's only one of those.
I had to
There's only one backstage boss.
But yeah, we found the shirt.
Yes.
That's too good. All right, Sarah, your second pick.
Okay. My second pick is gonna be I might butcher his name, but Hisham.
Yeah, Hissam.
Hissam.
Close enough. We'll
Uh,
figure it out tomorrow.
him?
Sorry.
No, I said you liked him.
Yeah, I did honestly.
Really?
I think
Really?
that
Okay.
I think that he's going to be able to get in one of the big alliances early on, and I think getting into that big alliance early on is going to do him well.
True. He was a little too analytical for me. That was the note that I took. He was again, which is kind of why I picked Red. Red has already proven that he's going to be willing to adjust, and Hisham just gave this dissertation of what he was going to do when he goes into the house. And I was like, all right, I'm out on you, dude.
A little bit of like a Michael on steroids from last season. Yeah. Like he's got traits of Michael, but you're not sure if he's going to overdo it and send himself home right away.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Charles, you get your final pick.
Well, I'm just going to pull one out of the hat because truthfully, I'm not a big initial fan of anybody left on the table. So I'm going to go Luke.
Okay. Luke.
Just because I like it. Yeah. I like his shirt on the preview page.
I'm trying to think. He gave me vibes earlier today. I couldn't remember who now, but he does give me vibes of someone from before.
My friends and I kind of got Mickey on crack.
I could see that.
Okay. Is he as strong as Mickey?
Oh my God. You know what he gives me? He gives me Howie from Throwback, Big Brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I was just looking and I was like, how is he? And Howie did well. So it was like, but I could see him kind of just being like, I don't know. He gives me Howie vibes. That's what I got just looking at the picture.
All right. So my pick. All right, I'm going Riley. I think she's gonna glob on to one of these guys and ride that for a while, and then Maybe she'll be a little smarter than Alyssa last year and cut the cord early and sever that before it gets too dramatic.
Help us.
But I mean, we're at the bottom of the barrel here, so that's my pick. Sorry, I don't have more analysis here. I'm doing computer and talking. So, Pooch.
Yeah.
Send it home.
Last pick. A point that Sarah said that definitely got me going a little bit. I think that big alliance is so key to get in initially. I wasn't in that, so Joe's obviously, and I almost was. It was in the Alliance Paloma Star that I saw a clip going back later on where they were going through, and then they were like, "I Pooch too," and somebody was like, "Yeah," and then they were like, he can kind of be all over the place. And I was like, yo, goddamn.
I think that was a mirror that called you out.
Yeah, mirror, one of them. And they probably weren't wrong. But
Pooch, you were in one of those scenarios where if you had just been overlooked for maybe another week, you could have potentially skated by for weeks ahead. And sometimes it's just like a luck of the draw game.
For sure. And I think this is going to help my pick. I'm going to go, and I don't love it, but I like it early on. I'm going to go blue. I'm going to go blue because I think early on, she's 25. She seems likable, but at the same time, I feel like she's strong personality, could rub some people the wrong way. But I think at least early on, just looking, she seems very confident, which is good and bad. I think she could play the role of a sweet girl, but it also looks like behind that smile, she could rip somebody's head off. But I think initially she'd get another big alliance. I would say I like her at least going to jury. So I'm going to go blue. For the end of the draft, I don't hate that pick.
Blue. That's actually a solid pick.
Blue, yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Right. Y'all scared me absolutely half to death because I was scared with what I was going to get left with. And judging by the fact that the two people left are currently 7 and 15 on my board, I'm real happy. I actually am really happy with this for last pick. My 7, I really liked their responses. Also go with the flow. I think we'll get heavily underestimated based on her age. Older players tend to go either really early or really far. I'm thinking of Glenn versus Cliff.
Okay.
First boot versus fourth place, or even Kevin, who made fourth. Don't
Donnie.
even know how. Yeah, exactly. And Donnie, absolutely beloved by the fans. I think this person will also be very well liked by the fans, well received. And I think that house guests will also kind of take to this person as a motherly figure as well. Kind of that comfort figure. Going to be the one to I don't want to use this word, but I don't know what else to use. Coddle and kind of be there and be that shoulder to cry on. And that's really, really helpful in these games. So I'm definitely going to take Felicia.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
I actually was all prepared on my end to update the Bowie picture to be your pick. So you surprised me. All right. Well, that is the draft in the books, which means Bowie is now officially I guess we'll call her the Dalton player because I actually have that label available. So there it is.
Is it mean that we left the non-American on the board?
Yeah.
She's got to earn her place here. But yeah, there it is. Draft is in the books. We have our 3 players and we are set to go. Season premiere tomorrow night. What time is it premiere? Anyone know?
8, maybe 8 Eastern.
8, I'm sure.
It's a 2-hour and
I
know it's a back-to-back, right? We're doing Wednesday and Thursday this week. I kind of am just going off a couple tweets I saw.
We're so prepared.
We are so prepared. You know what? Despite the fact that we are going to be upping our content big time this season, my prep didn't start until about 2 hours ago. So we will be more prepared for the next pod. But speaking of the next pod, we have so much content coming your way this season. This Thursday or Friday, I know we'll get the OG crew back together, me, Charles, and Dalton going over the premiere. Every Friday this season, Sarah and I will be doing live feed breakdowns, so you don't have to watch the live feeds all day. We'll give you all the highlights. And then throughout the week, we'll have co-hosts of Richard, Pooch, Dalton, Sarah on our other episode recaps. So it's exciting stuff coming your way all season long. Let's wrap it here. Real quick, final words. Start with you, Charles. What are you looking forward to most this season, and are you happy with your squad?
Definitely happy with my squad. Again, I was kind of nervous that I wouldn't get a couple people because they should have stood out to everybody. Duh. But to be fair, I'm just excited to be here. Excited to get things going again. It gives me something to look forward to, truthfully. Outside of that, Sarah, cheers to you for being the only one drinking because, Daniel,
Amen, Charles.
you should know that. Pooch, you too.
Oh,
What the hell's up? So anyway,
Cheers,
the next time,
Charles.
cheers. The next time we're on, everyone must have drink in hand. And no, let's get this going.
Yeah,
I'll take myself out of that picture.
I say this did start out as a drinking podcast. I forgot about that back in the day, and then I realized when I drank and potted, I fumbled too much. So I got to find the line there. Richard, happy with your squad. What are you looking forward to? And also, Survivor. Did that season just wrapped, or no? It starts at the end of the season. How does that work? Like, do they go simultaneous?
It's gonna start up really soon because I know that CBS's lineup includes Wednesday night Survivor episodes.
I was gonna say that's why we're going Tuesday Thursdays instead of Wednesday Thursdays. So
they're opening up. They just opened up casting for 47 and 48. Okay. I believe a few days ago. 45 is obviously on the way. 46, if it's not already wrapped.
Hey, Survivor, what's up? Hey, I gotta take this. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You know what?
That was slick.
With it being a shorter show, maybe it'll last a bit longer.
Okay.
Wow.
Richard, looks like you'll be pulling some double duty this season with the Survivor mixed in. But glad to have you on the team. Yeah,
I'm happy with my team. I think for last pick to get 3, 5, and 7 on my board, I'll take it. I feel like there's strong people. I mean, everybody has an upside and a downside, some more downsides than upsides, but we'll see what happens.
Sarah, first podcast episode in the books. How'd it go? How do you feel about your team?
I feel pretty good about my team. I think that there are still other people on the board that I'm curious about. When you get those initial first day walk-ins, you start to see those live feeds, you start to see who's going to congregate together and form their groups. So I'm honestly surprised that Bowie didn't get picked off the bat by someone. She was someone that stood out to me in the interviews. And I feel bad that she didn't get chosen, but
do you have draft remorse or regret? What's going on?
It's all right. When she wins, we'll all suffer together eating the wings. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just so excited to hop into another Big Brother season. It's honestly like my NFL or my March Madness, is definitely Big references.
Brother. Your Wimbledon.
Yeah, exactly. I listen to Rob and Taryn nonstop, so just being on one and actually being able to do my own thing is great.
Yeah, and for all those wondering, we're basically Sarah and I are just going to be doing the cliff notes of the of Taryn's daily episodes. So if you can't listen for 8 hours a week, you can listen to us for 1 hour a week. We'll give you all the highlights. Finally, Pooch, how you feel about your team, and more importantly, who's the better co-host, me or Rachel?
I'm gonna have to go with Rachel on that one. She's my go-to right now. I gotta go with my girl Rachel.
It's the right answer
for sure. No, I'm excited. I don't know if I have the winner, but I feel like I have a very good jury. If I just say, I feel like a lot of those guys, if they didn't make the jury, I'd be surprised. But I'm excited. It's really cool. It's a cool experience. I'm sure they're super excited. I'm excited for them. It's crazy because even as you sit here, it's getting flashbacks. So kind of the same way I would think first going into the house. And it's you don't want to say anything wrong or that would because you're oh, this person looks like a lot. And it's oh, how do you know that? It's I don't. You just it's like anything else. It's first impressions. It's so it's so tough for everybody. And it could be so many things we said that are true and so many things we said that are untrue. And you don't know. And I don't think any of it's in bad blood, like we were saying. It's just a game. It's an awesome social experiment. I think it's so cool. Everything from being locked inside to random people all over the world. So I'm excited for them. I think, anybody that gets in a sense, blessed enough to play the game because they do such a cool job. With competitions, the house, everything. It's such a wild experience that I just, the game. I just hope it's played, for the way it is. And just, people don't over criticize, unless they deserve. It's tough. It's tough, man. I hope they have a great, really exciting. Hope they play the game and just have a good time.
Pooch, how are you feeling with, a year ago right now, you were about to walk into the Big Brother house, so I'm sure you're having almost like flashbacks of the behind the scenes of walking on, and you're probably even feeling them a little bit like, oh my God, these guys are doing this thing and I was just doing this. So how has that been feeling?
It's for sure. It's crazy because in July when I went into the house, because nothing was going on Big Brother, I didn't think about it much. I was just moving on with my life. It's been a year. It feels even longer than a year ago. So in July, when I was getting all the notifications on my phone, a year ago today and all that stuff, I wasn't thinking much about it because besides those notifications, nobody else was talking about it. And now getting back on Twitter and it's Big Brother's about to happen and start up again. It's cool. It's exciting. I mean, I'm happy for these guys. I mean, they're going to have a great time. So it's going to be fun. It's a fun experience. I know everybody's excited. It gives me, once again, something to look forward to. And, being on the show makes me enjoy it even more, knowing all those behind the scenes stuff and what, in the sense they're going through and, what's going on. So I'm excited for them.
Are you still going to do your Instagram lives throughout the season?
Dude, I don't think last year. Yeah. After last, that was a lot. I mean, even that's something that's crazy that they'll all go through. When you get out of the house, it's, because when you're in that house, I was only in for 16 days, but I was going to sleep at 4 a.m. and then they wake you up at 8 a.m. And you get to a point, you're like, hey, I'm going to be really tired. This can't keep happening. But the adrenaline is so crazy that I was 2 weeks in going to sleep at 4 a.m., waking up at 8, and you're like, I feel fine. But it's just mentally, but it's crazy because then you get out of the house and that doesn't stop for a good month or two, So I was, going to sleep or on Instagram, TikTok live from, 12 at night till 5, 6 in the morning, fall asleep, wake up at 2, 3 in the afternoon, go about my day and then do some more stuff. But it's crazy because it lasts a little bit longer than I'm sure some people would expect, even for somebody who wasn't in the house, a crazy amount of time.
Definitely. Well, we're certainly excited for the season as well. Somehow, even though I came into this thinking I'm going to pick the alpha male stereotype like I did last year, and I ended up with the full female squad. So surprise for me there, but
that's new for you.
I know, down for it this year though.
Wow. You're going to have to take a shot next time because of that.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to take a shot just because you're my co-host. So either way, I don't get out of that. But all right, we'll wrap it there. I still haven't found a way to wrap these pods very succinctly, so we're just gonna do a quick sign off, and we will see you all coming soon. Look out for that Thursday episode. Look out for the Friday recaps, and we'll be with you all season long. All right, we're out. See you.